$1.1 million fraud by Raymond Abbas, popularly known as Hush Puppy, but Mr. Kyari has denied any wrongdoing. Kyari was suspended by the Police Service Commission on the recommendation of the IG. Achike today joins me on the phone. Achike, good morning. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Emma.
I know it's been a few days. We haven't even talked about the Abba Kyari. I'm sure you've seen it written, H-A-B-A Kyari with the exclamation mark. But how did you receive the news when you heard that a court from the U.S. was indicting a top police chief?
I think the whole Abba Kyari case and the Hush Puppy borders on fraud and corruption. And so how would I receive news about corruption of a public officer in Nigeria, even if that person is the super cop, Abba Kyari himself? It's nothing new. I didn't see it as amazing because corruption has long been embedded in the fabric of our country, unfortunately so. So for me, it was just one more act of corruption, just one more exposure of a corrupt public official who was who had a Jekyll and Hyde personality. What I mean by that is that he's a good guy in the daytime and he becomes a monster at night. That's a typical Jekyll and Hyde situation. And so it was not really unfortunate. But I mean, like I tell people, since in a situation, in an era where public institutions receive a lot of opprobrium from Nigerians, especially the Nigerian police, in terms of criticism about the actions and activities of the Nigerian police, if you remember the NSAS crisis. So people like Abba Kyari were seen as role models, people that are different. So that when you talk about maybe out of 10, you talk about 9 bad policemen, or maybe 6 bad policemen, you will point to Abba Kyari as one of the shining examples of the Nigerian police.
One of the few good men.
But as it seems, he wasn't such a shining example because, like I said, he was a good guy by day and a terrible person by night.
But what does this also say about crime and how it goes on? Because when it comes to money laundering, a lot of people say the way they go about the investigation isn't proper because a person can launder money only through a financial institution, and many times we have the FCC, for example, who monitors some of these transactions, or the bank, communicating with the FCC when they have a certain threshold that the person is crossing. So what does that also say about the system aiding or abetting corruption or fighting corruption?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the system, really, because we have, all kinds of anti-corruption laws in the country. We have anti-corruption bodies, the IGP, the EFCC, and even within the ministries and departments of parastatals. They are supposed to be, and there are processes that should be followed under normal circumstances to reduce the incidences of corruption. The fact that corruption has continued on the upswing in the country, in spite of the existence of all of these bodies, simply tells you that it is systemic, completely systemic. And so somehow the people perpetrating this corruption manipulate the system to satisfy their own personal ends. And so, but don't forget that corruption, or systems are about individuals, they're about human beings. And so it is human beings that set up mechanisms for checking things like corruption, and it is human beings also that manipulate that process, distort that process, for the purpose of doing whatever they want to do with it, and then getting away with it. So what it tells you is that virtually, from every level of government in this country, you have systems to safeguard public assets from corruption, but you also have people working within the system who have made it their business to also subvert this system, and these are very key people. So when you talk about banks, for instance, how come that in spite of all the financial laws, on reporting of certain financial transactions to the EFCC, that still the banking system is being manipulated And so you have very corrupt people even within the financial sector in this country. You also have some corrupt people even within the corruption fighting agencies in the country. So it's really not, the FCC is not made up of sense. The FCC, I'm sure they have good people there, but they also have very terrible people. But it would appear that the fact that corruption has continued to be on the upswing in this country, it would appear that the bad guys are winning over the good guys, winning against the good guys.
So with this latest matter concerning Abba Kyari and his suspension, is this a plus or a minus on both sides?
A plus or minus to what?
To the fight, to the number of good cops in the police service, and also to the other guys who are committing crime. The likes of Hush Puppy, who are still, low key or hiding.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a minus. I mean, for everybody concerned. It's also a minus for the institution that Abba Kyari represented. It's a minus for him. It's a minus for the country itself. Because right now, when you read about with this present situation, people are talking about Nigeria. People are talking about, yes, Hush Puppy is a Nigerian citizen. Abba Kyari is supposed to be or was supposed to be a top cop in Nigeria. And so it is Nigeria's name that is being dirtied in the mud. And I think that is because you see, they say soldiers go and soldiers come, but the barrack remains. So Hush Puppy will go, Abba Kyari will go, but the country remains. And so what you see is that other people are going to bear the consequences of what is happening with Hush Puppy and Abba Kyari. And these are Nigerians that want to have international transactions with certain people. Because if some of them tell you exactly what they have been going through all this while, once you mention the name Nigeria, and once you show the passport Nigeria, it is exceedingly very negative. So it's a minus. But we must, we must also emphasize the fact that of all Nigerians that are living abroad, that there are more Nigerians that are bringing glory to this country than those ones that are trying to tarnish the name of our country.
Very true.
We must not forget that fact. Yes, we must not forget that fact.
But with a thing like this, something as huge as Abba Kyari's indictment, would you think that the police will do some spring cleaning within their ranks?
You cannot give what you do not have. That's what I know. You cannot give what. Look, Abba Kyari was supposed to be their best example. Abba Kyari was supposed to be the best of them, or one of the best of them. So if you could fall in such a dastardly manner, you can imagine how many other Abba Kyaris there are. Look, the Nigerian police is if you look at what the Transparency International, Amnesty International says about the Nigerian police, they have done a lot of work with on the Nigerian police, and they tell you how bad the situation is in terms of violation of human rights, in terms of the corruption within the system and all that. I mean, just yesterday, for instance, a driver of a company that somebody I know, was was arrested by the police. And then they were asking him, eventually they released him in the afternoon, and with a sum of 15,000 naira changing hands. And what was his crime? He was going to work, they arrested him and they told him to give evidence of, show evidence of his identity card or where he's working. He is not obligated to produce such an identity card if he didn't have it on him. If supposing he had told the police that he doesn't have a job, are they going to ask for evidence of joblessness where he's working? So are they telling us now that the so-called law on wandering is still in place in the country? So these are some of the things. So these are some of the issues. So it's not they don't change. Look at the battle over the NSAS movement. And then the Nigerian police said they are going to do this. They are going to stop disband the SARS. They are going to put some structures in place and so on. What kind of structures will they put in place that will be fundamental and see a renewal of the image of the Nigerian police? I think is exceedingly very difficult because the problem is so systemic. It comes all the way from the very top of this country. Goes all the way down. So it is difficult. There's a very, very fundamental change, systemic change in the country. what you're going to have are just small, palliative measures, small, redemptive or preventive measures to reduce, to the barest perhaps, to reduce some incidences of some of this outrageous behavior, but it's not going to be fundamental enough to make a general impact everywhere.
So the IGP's action, how would you rate it? The suspension of Abba Kyari, because part of the document that Frank Kumba sent out reads, the suspension is without prejudice to the constitutional presumption of innocence in favor of the officer.
The IGP has set up an investigative panel before now. We were told that was what they wanted to do. And when he did that, Abba Kyari was not removed. The fact that he has appointed somebody in Abba Kyari's, to fill Abba Kyari's position is an indication that they are moving in a particular direction. Yes, Abba Kyari is still a presumed innocent until a competent law, court of law pronounces him guilty of accusations. But I can tell you that from what is happening from the evidence that has been released by the FBI, that's now in the public space, I think the IGP has also realized, and the police hierarchy, that this is an irredeemable case, and that there is nothing that can be done actually to redeem the situation or prove the innocence of Abba Kyari. At least on the surface, it looks exceedingly bad. And I do not see him, if they want to do the right thing, I do not see Abba Kyari getting out of this. Abba Kyari is a candidate that is bound for jail. If you have a government that is serious about corruption, if you have a Nigerian police that is truly serious about giving the right signal to its rank and file officers to do good behavior, otherwise they'll pay the price. If that is the case, what I have seen so far, the Super Cop, we end up becoming a super villain and most probably end up in jail if the proper investigation is done.
If, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
I say if. Don't forget that in Nigeria sometimes the more you look, the less you see. We remember the Apple 6. What happened? All the controversy that attended the Apple 6. One of the principal people who were police officers who was involved in that terrible action, that took the lives of 6 innocent Nigerians, escaped from the country. He was on the run. All of a sudden, like Mena, he miraculously, resurfaced, and he has been promoted. And from the last count, I was told that he has become an AIG. And such perfidy, such insidiousness can only happen in a country like Nigeria, where political leadership, governance is done without conscience. It's done on the basis of the worst kind of parochialism that you can actually think of.
Okay.
So I think what has gone on for Abba Kyari right now is that this particular investigation is international, and it is being conducted by the FBI that knows how to dot to cross its T's and dot its I's. So it becomes very difficult for the federal government, for the police authorities to manipulate the process and to issue a clean bill of health to Abba Kyari. It will be very difficult.
All right. Let's talk about this man, Disu. You're in Lagos, and he was the commander of the Rapid Response Squad. Tell us something, if you know anything about him and the work he's done. What we have here is that Disu changed the face of the RRS with the catchphrase, "The Good Guys." Have you encountered any of the good guys?
Well, I know that he's been spoken well of. I've had not direct contact with him, but I know people even within the civil society organization, who have spoken very well of the man as somebody who is compassionate, as somebody who listens to people, and that he has listening ears, and I think that is a very good virtue, that you are also willing to listen to all sides, to an issue. But again, so from that perspective, I think it is good, and it's not often that you hear people, especially within the civil society community, speak well of a police officer in that manner. So I think that stands him to some extent in good stead. But whether he will be able to carry that into his new job and new responsibility, that is left for time to tell us. I do not forget the thing about time. That time is a very, very important critical element in human life. Time has a way of healing pains. But time has a way of being the greatest revealer of all secrets. And it is time that has played, this role in exposing Abba Kyari. Otherwise, if not for time, we would have continued to see Abba Kyari as a super cop. So hopefully, this will be able to step into his shoes and do something much better, or not running with the hares, and then hunting with the hounds. Not being the good guy by day and then being a bad guy by night. He has to carry out his responsibility with some level of soberness, realizing what has happened to his predecessor, knowing that who is standing should take it lest he fall, so that he can avoid a similar fate, such as has happened to Abba Kyari.
Okay, so before I let you go, Achike, someone has asked a question. It says, if Abba Kyari is found guilty of the allegation, what happens to his position?
What happens to his what?
His position.
He is guilty of a breach of his commitment to his career. I mean, to his profession. He is guilty of his oath of service. He becomes a criminal. He becomes a fraudulent person. What do you do with fraudulent person or with criminals?
You take a position in jail.
You get them sacked. You get them prosecuted too if they have done something that needs their prosecution. So that is what we expect to happen to Abba Kyari. You treat him because in engaging himself with hush puppy the way he did. Yes, he has shown that it's no different from a hush puppy. If hush puppy is a fraudster, then he becomes an aider and abettor of a fraudster. And so if hush puppy is going to be punished, the man who aided the hush puppy to commit his crimes
should go down
should also be punished. It's as simple as that. That's why I said that if we do things the right way, of course, hush puppy is said to be facing a 20-year prison term in the United States if found guilty, which he will be. So you also expect some severe punishment, perhaps a much more severe punishment for Abba Kyari, because this is somebody that had a unique position, a unique role and responsibility to perform in public, and has so disappointed in such a terrible manner.
But Achike, don't you think that the powers that be will do everything they can to shield him?
Well, I have just told you that now. I was using the word if. I used it several times. If, and I talked about, I gave you an instance of the Apple 6. Because the reality is that we don't even know whether within the hierarchy of the police, whether Abba Kyari is alone. And this is one other thing that one also has to look at. He said the only very senior police officer that knew what was going on. Was he eating alone? Other people also implicated in what has gone on. Perhaps further investigation would tell. But if we find very senior officers also being involved in this thing, then you can be sure that they will do everything as much as possible to shield themselves and see what they can do to help Abba Kyari so that it doesn't spill the beans. So right now, it is Abba Kyari alone solely that we have to hold responsible, because he's the only person that has been implicated. But also one other thing before you let me go is the fact that hush puppy has been linked with all kinds of politicians.
Yeah,
they took a lot of photographs with Nigerian political elite. That gives you an idea of the level of degeneracy of our political elite. Perhaps he has also helped in sponsoring some elections in this country, because we know the nature and character of the politicians. So it is not impossible. I think that if we had a very serious country, you had the government authorities that were serious about corruption, they will investigate further and take it from there, and also collaborate more fully with the FBI to see whether the names of other prominent Nigerians, especially Nigerian politicians, will also come up with a view to exposing these people if they acted in ways that they are dramatically opposed to the laws of the country, so that they can be shamed, and so that perhaps public office can be denied them. But I will not hold my breath, no, because a lot of the people that are in power today are not actually better than hush puppy.
Yeah.
A lot of the politicians that are holding sway in this country are not better than hush puppy. What they have been doing is also 419. What hush puppy was doing is 419, but these people have obtained public office by under false pretense that they will serve the interests of the Nigerian people. The fact that they continue to divert all the public resources, ceaselessly, is an indication that they have the same proclivities, they have the same tendencies, they have the same inclinations with somebody like hush puppy.
All right. Thank you, Chike, for your time.
Thank you.
Some people would argue that it's not just the politicians, that even among the masses, there are people who are like hush puppy. They just haven't gotten the chance to show their true colors. My name is Anogwe. Very commercial will play, and then the lines will be open. We're Nigerian Football Hackers, and this is where we have the region's biggest conversation. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to 92.3 Nigeria Info.
This is the Morning Crossfire on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
25 minutes before 9 o'clock. Thank you for staying tuned. In all of this, Abba Kyari has denied any wrongdoing in statements posted on his verified Facebook page. He admitted knowing Hush Puppy, but said he never demanded money from him. He only referred Hush Puppy to a tailor whom the fraudster had done no wrong. So what's going on? But the police have moved. They've replaced him now with Tunji Disu, who is reported to have changed the face of the RRS in Lagos with his catchphrase, "The Good Guys." And my guest, IGP today, said, well, he's been getting very positive reviews about DCP, right? Is that the title? I need to check it out again. DCP, yeah, DCP Tunji Disu. You're listening. Which way do you see this going, really? Because with this move, Chike says perhaps there's something that they have found. And then there also is the matter of, will he be tried here? Will they, allow the US take him to face his charges there? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0009 are the numbers to call. We are Nigerian Phil. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Eno. My name is David West.
Let's talk.
Calling you from Yenaja. You see, the lesson here is that it takes a man a long time to build a name or a character. And for just a very few seconds, just going down the drain or like a flushed water. It's a lesson to every one of us. There are many Abba Kyaris out there, but it's just that the exposure have not been there. Well, for him, my humble opinion is there is a serious premier facie case against him. The law court is there. Let him go and prove his innocence.
All right.
And it is the principle of law that he who alleges the onus of proof lies on him. So let the court decide. Good morning.
Good morning. Lawson is in Rumiko. Good morning, Lawson. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Yes, all of what has happened in, like as you said, Abba Kyari saga, that for me, it is for us to look inwards. That's the most important thing. Let us look at what our police is all about and then begin to teach them. I say begin to teach them because I'm a lawyer. When you interface with police, House, he is not the only person. Let us look at the IRT is heading.
Now, yeah.
If you go to just the one at Choba, they do at their will what they want. The same thing if you look at the classified information that was given out. The same statement he made to Hush Puppy that he thinks is money. No amount of money can bring him out. And that is the way his boys, even here in Rivers State, they behave. So let us look at what the police, what they ought to do, reorientate them, perhaps do the training for them, and then flush off this mindset of we are police, we are all in all. I think this is what I think should be done, not his own issue at come and gone. But for the ones who are there, what do we do so that we can truly have police officers who can say super cop? And in fact, I'm even blaming the press for still calling him super cop. They should call him opposite of super, and then put cop. Because what he has done now, he should not be answering a super cop. And okay, look at what the FBI they did. They have to do their investigation first. A super cop that you were called from UAE without a petition, and then you arrested him, detained the person. When you found out that the person is not guilty or is not cannot be roped into the crime he was accused of, it falls to misinformation of the police, which is also an offense. What is Abba Kyari saying about that? If you inform the police of an offense And if police carries out an investigation, and this investigation turns out that the person is not culpable to that offense, then that person who did that report should stand trial for misinformation of the police.
All right.
What did he do about that?
Thank you, Lawson. It looks like we have an elephant in the room still. You know, when it comes to bribes, they say do not offer and do not collect. So it's a two-way street. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk.
Tony Anthony. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Now, where is Abba Kyari capable in this matter? Is it that he was obstructing the course of investigation? Was he aiding hospital to get arrested? Or was he giving him sensitive information about the police? And again, and let's also look at it from this angle. Some bank officials, because you see, these are our brothers who are involved in high-profile corrupt cases or crime. They have those in the bank. They aid these guys. They are also doing Nigerian Stock Exchange, the Security and Exchange Commission. They are higher-ranking politicians. So I believe Abba Kyari has so much to see. He hasn't started singing. I will get the FBI to dox him very well so that hospital will sing. I don't believe Abba Kyari is the only person involved in this high-profile crime. And the FBI will know. I don't think they will just cook up story against Hush Puppy. So they should dox him more so that he will sing more. Right. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
What happens when the nightingale sings? The FBI said Hush Puppy, who is currently in a U.S. jail, his real name is Abbas Raymond, paid $20,600. That's an equivalent of 8 million naira to the head of the IGP Intelligence Response Team, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, to arrest and detain his fellow fraudster, Chibuzo Kelly Vincent. Then the court, that's the California court in February 2021, stated that Hush Puppy contracted the services of Abba Kyari after Chibuzo allegedly threatened to expose an alleged $1.1 million fraud committed against a Qatari businessman. Kyari provided account information for a bank account at a Nigerian bank, Zenith Bank, in the name of a person other than himself. Henry is calling from Umigbo. Henry, good morning.
My sister, no, good morning.
Let's talk.
Your program is very interesting. It's so unfortunate that the people we are looking at, that will come up to tell us not to involve ourselves, to indulge ourselves, in some illegal things, are the one that are being fingered here. This young man, Abba Kyari in question, I followed his profile. He's a very active police officer, but it's so unfortunate. I think he has more to tell us, Nigerians, also the FBI, because when you go to a police station, my dear sister, so many things are happening there. You see more reason why I said before we recruit most of these our brothers and sisters in this our police force, we should be able to detail them very well, to know the angle where they are coming from and where they were going. I think it's so unfortunate because it's not a good one to our Nigerian police, structure and the name so far we have appeared. I think the IG also to use this one to know how to manage the police affairs and also to call the policemen, because most of these boys which Abba Kyari has heard, what they are doing to people, the one at this airport road here, when they stop you, they treat you as if maybe you are nobody. But look at what is happening to their boss today. It's so unfortunate. We are more to hear. Our ears are open to hear more.
All right. Henry is keen on hearing more. We're Nigerian phone. Good morning. Turn off the radio, please. Thank you. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, my sister. I'm Obina. And, people are sounding like it's one kind of new thing in Nigerian police. This kind of thing is happening to the Super Cup of Nigeria. It's not new. You remember what happened in River State here about police too? That chairman, after arresting, killing him, they even collected the money from them. If not by God's grace, as if those four Ikoku guys, nobody will hear about them again. That's the truth, my sister. All these things have been happening. Look at what happened in NSAS. People are saying that damaging Nigeria image. Nigeria image has been damaged already. Sister, do you watch one video? People that went for Olympics, one guy was harassing them in the bus, telling them all sorts of kinds of things about Nigeria, and he says it's in Nigeria too. FBI is not DSS or Supreme Court or Nigeria Police or Nigeria Military. They have evidence, and it takes time to bring this tangible evidence. But finally, they will not allow Abba Kyari to go. They will start protest. They will start doing tribalism. They will start issuing statements. This is another group. Watch and see. Thank you.
All right. Protest. You see that happening in this scenario? Well, in Nigeria, anything can happen. Christian is joining us this morning from Bonny Island. Good morning, Christian.
Yeah. Hello. It's so sad. It's very unfortunate. But we have to be frank to ourselves, the people. This simply tells us what is happening in high places in this country. There is no two ways about it. This is not the truth. It's a difficult medicine to swallow, but it is the truth. We have to tell ourselves we must achieve and grow as a nation and lay good examples for smaller nations surrounding us, because they are insulting us so much. The insult is too much. Nigeria has no value anymore. They have gone so bad. I tend to imagine what our leaders, what is their conscience, what are they thinking? What is their dignity? It is that bad. We have to go back to the basis, go back and begin to correct things that's gone bad. There's no pretense about it. This is the truth. This is what is happening virtually in everywhere. We should ask ourselves why. Because you are not expected to live on your salaries, what you are paid cannot sustain you. Most people, they retire without being able to have a shelter, a house over their head. So you have to look into unconventional areas to meet up. Virtually every aspect of our life. The only area that I can put aside is those areas that are working in oil and gas industries. Their salaries is very, very buoyant and encouraging. These are the only areas. Apart from that, civil servants, zero. They all depend on unconventional, that is corrupt areas to meet up. More than 90% of Nigerians, that is what is happening.
Thank you, Christian. So what you've basically said is the system makes it difficult for anyone to be able to live on a salary that doesn't take anyone home. Every day we hear the same stories. I mean, after the end-house protest, I thought that something was going to be done for the police force, but apparently it's more words than action. So the uniforms, I mean, I still see some, they look really, really untidy, and I'm wondering, I was a kid in this country, I saw police with shiny shoes. I mean, that was a goal, that was a dream, you know, neat, slim fit. I mean, it looked like they were actually ready to do the police work, but I don't know what's going on now. So after all the demands, you know, in the NSAS protest, nothing come out. Favor is calling from Monet. Favor, good morning.
Good morning, my sister. Hello?
Yeah, let's talk.
Okay. It's very unfortunate anyway, because every day we continue hearing news in this country. It's not representing us at all. When you discover that high-profile people, like this man called Abba Kyari, according to his history and what we are reading concerning him, he's a very good man in his job. But look at where he's gradually ending up. Now, if at the end of the time, the allegation or whatever is true, because before America will do something like this, I believe that they must be verified. Even their boss, sorry to say, which is Kyari Baba, which is the Inspector General of Police. If you look at this man that buried Mama that day now, what is it called? Obi Kubana. You watch very well, you see that Inspector General of Police was that burial.
He was?
Doing what? Inspector General of Police being a barrier of such a thing. Tomorrow now, when issue will come on board concerning Obi Kubani, Inspector General of Police don't eat money or whatever, people started saying that it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. The whole high-profile Inspector General of Police being Obi Kubani, he doesn't have the people to send to that place. Huh? It's a matter of person. Our people, this country, we too like money. To the extent that corruption can't wrap our head. We don't even know our left and right. We are doing anything we like. Look at the certain region that is equal and people or whatever. I heard it in your sister station that South leaders or whatever come back together with America or whatever to prove or to bring Abba Kyari to this issue. Is it not an hate speech? If the South governor or South leader now want to raise the nation now and raise that thing, he will say, if somebody do bad, you should go on account of it.
All right, thank you, Favor. Chief has left the building. So it wasn't the IGP that was at Obi Kubana's mother's burial. It was the Abba Kyari himself. And he described Obi Kubana as one of the most hardworking entrepreneurs he knows. So the pictures are they're out there. So he attended the funeral despite his busy schedule because of Obi Kubana's good nature. I've known him for many years. He's a brother and a good friend. For his good nature and good heart, I had to squeeze out time from my busy schedule to honor him by attending the burial of his beloved mom in Oba Town, Anambra State. All right, so that's it. That's it. In all of this, I hope that we're able to take away something very critical that, like the Bible says, everything that is done in the dark will be brought to light. Today, it is Abba Kyari would keep tabs on that to see how it turns out. Tomorrow, if it be you. And let me take a few messages from WhatsApp before, I exit the building. Let me feel like I said, suspension of Abba Kyari to pave way for thorough investigation is great indeed. But I think that the entire police force is sinking in bribery and corruption. This is inimical to our security and image within and outside Nigeria's borders. If the states and the government can clean the police force and the judiciary, Nigeria will witness rapid national development across board. At the LGAs too, because these institutions are the nucleus and strengths of the justice system that engineers true and sustainable development of the nation. But why will they allow it if, they're going to be found out? And all the hush puppies and indicted Abba Kyaris are not even the big fishes. We are all small fishes in the pond. You don't want to know what's going on at as Nigerian children are taking part in NECO. Some of my colleagues who regularly call and WhatsApp this your radio station, especially the Morning Crossfire and Hard Facts, are on the NECO supervision. They're extorting the students in the name of signing fee. In fact, we're all even listening to you right now in the staff room because today's exam, creative arts, visual arts, and basic electricity are offered by only about 3 schools in our local government area. If these lots of teachers get promoted to become PEMSEC or Commissioner of Education, imagine what will happen. Then one final message. Daniel Yorbe on Facebook. Good morning to you, madam. I know a police officer was a member of Team 6 in Mile 1. He was prosecuted for robbery and sentenced to prison. After serving his time in prison, he came out and joined SARS. Same thing will happen here. Don't be surprised. The conversation continues on our Facebook page at Nigeria Info PH, on Instagram as well at Nigeria Info PH. But there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Tunji Disu. He was the commander of the Rapid Response Squad of Lagos State Police Command. He had served as aide-de-camp to former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu. He was also in charge of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS in Ondo, Oyo, and Rivers State Police Command. Thank you, everyone, for your time. My name is Eno Bevire. Stay out of trouble. Good morning.
You are tuned in to